Hey, Buxton, Guyana, this is your reminder. Friday Night Laughs is coming to Club Twilight on September 27th. Yes, this Friday at Club Twilight, Sideline and Buxton. We bring in the kings of late night comedy, Chow Pow and Jumbie Jones. Come out. Remember, wear your pampers and no false teeth allowed. I tell you, you're going to laugh till you admission. Easy like peasy. $500. Doors open at 7 o'clock.
The fire burning red in a Joshua representing if it comes hard here. You know. Big up Kidaki. Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you going like in a like come son. Red.
Never Joe. Never Joe. Never Joe. Oh, money never, money never, money never, money. I know what you conniving. Money never, money. You can keep your conniving money. When you've been not for a bum, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money never, money never, money, money never, money, money. Now I don't want you conniving money. Neighbor, joker. Neighbor, joker. Neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guild piece. A 2 pound note and a guild piece. A 2 pound note and a guild piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money never, money. Money, I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Tom's TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruption over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see. Sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, with Jah as ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again fooling the people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, they got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam, Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London, Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews, big up Paslow Port People Governor, Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson, Hampton Green and Winston Jordan, and yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Comes out your son. You burn the swine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
Club Twilight, Sideline Down Buxton North presents Friday Night Laughs, Chow Pow and Jumbie Jones. Friday, September 27th. Doors open at 7 p.m. Come out, laugh until you cry. Open mic for the brave. Yes, Friday, September 27th at Club Twilight. It's Friday Night Laughs with Chow Pow and Jumbie Jones. Open mic for the brave. It's a karaoke of comics. Come on down, Friday, September 27th, 7 p.m. at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton. Admission is $500 only.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Ramveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Hey, Buxton, Guyana, this is your reminder. Friday Night Laughs is coming to Club Twilight on September 27th. Yes, this Friday at Club Twilight, Sideline Down Buxton. We bring in the kings of late night comedy, Chow Pow and Jumbie Jones. Come out. Remember, wear your pampers and no false teeth allowed. I tell you, you're going to laugh till your admission, easy like peasy. $500. Doors open at 7 o'clock.
myself. One of the old timers, Lord Pretender, going way back, start singing Kaiso back in 29. He's the king of extempo. A lot of people know Gypsy. Gypsy as the modern day king of extempo. They have some of the youngsters who are very good, and ladies too. But Pretender is the all-time great of extempo. Just sing. Just come on the stage and just sing. You give them fellas a topic and say politics, and they just sing. They don't make them like that anymore. Lord Pretender. You all meet the Michael Jackson, the Magic Johnson, and Mike. What am I saying? What am I saying? All of them, all of those go to him. There is Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. He's the great. He's one of the greats. Lord Pretender. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101 Thursday evening. We have Apostle London is here, and we're expecting Wayne Caesar to pass by. We are still covering the Melly Mel story. The Melly Mel story teaches us something about our country, our politics, our governance. It's not the person. It's not the first woman that they disrespect. They disrespect all them women in Moko. All them women in Mackenzie, lick down their womb, disrespect them. All them women in front, with a stall in front of the hospital, spit on that young constable, disrespect, lock up young female lawyer. So Melly Mel is not the first woman that they disrespect. Send police, punch your mother, and attempt to plant weed. Note, they didn't plant cocaine, they plant weed. As I said, Guyana will not get it right until we start calling things by the right name. Melly Mel is being prosecuted and persecuted because she skinned up the government, because she exposed the government, because she's standing up to the government. All of that is right, but you all still ain't got it right. What does Melly Mel have in common with the women in Moko? What does she have in common with those women? You all remember when they go lick down those people's house in Amelia's ward and so on in Linden? They were women. What does she have in common with those women? What does Melly Mel have in common with a woman lawyer that they lock up because she tell her client what to do? What does Melly Mel have in common with the constable, the woman that they spit on? What does she have in common with those women that they lick down the stall in front of the hospital and all over Georgetown? What does she have in common with those women who they just dress up in red jersey and carry them to PPP activity and have them disrespect themselves? What does Melly Mel have in common with women all over Guyana who have to watch
the men being killed by police. What does she have in common with the mother of Quinton Bacchus? What does she have in common with the wife of Orrin Boston and the wife of Peter Headley? She black. African. They got Indian women who stand up to this government. Don't get it twisted. They got Indian women to stand up, but they would never send the police to the 50-something-year-old mother and 80-something-year-old grandmother. And they would never plant wheat on them. They're going to give them hell in the villages they live. But certain things they would never do to them. We don't get the story right. And so the PPP feel they can do these things and also human rights violations. As Brother Henry Jeffrey said here the other night, when Borti Ramcharan, Dr. Ramcharan, said that we have shades of autocracy in Guyana, he was giving the PPP a way out. Because it's not the shades of autocracy is the problem. Indian autocracy. Racial autocracy. You all ever wonder why they get bent out of shape and they want to break down all the seawall for let the water come in and flood out Guyana? You all ever wonder why they wanted to do that when Kofi 250 said an emerging apartheid state? You all ever wonder why they just call Henry Jeffrey, Eric Phillips, Vincent Alexander, and when they get ready, Norton and Nigel and Sister Olive Sampson and Pastor London, Apostle London. You ever wonder why they just call we racist? Because we got the number. Racists don't like people who understand racism and call them out on it. What they did to Melly Mel goes beyond just harassing a woman. How dare a little black girl put them in their place? What we have in Guyana is Indian male autocracy. Dictatorship, apartheid. You all got to get it right. You know, I hear that it's cuss young people and say young people and in the struggle and young people in this and young people in that and young people in that. I talk to plenty young people. And before I could tell them, they tell me, Dr. Hines, we catching hell in Guyana because we black, because we race, man. And you all go figure out why we politicians don't connect with them young people or they don't come and join the thing. Because we always go to them and said, young people, the youth in Guyana are not being involved, and the youth in Guyana, this and we are. I don't get it wrong now. I don't get it wrong, but I just pass around sometime. The Indian youth don't have to worry about certain things. The Indian, you don't have to worry about police coming and stopping the party and licking them down and carrying on. They don't have to worry about that. The loudest music in Georgetown now is not them little black boy and girl. It's them young Indian boys and girls. Because they could do it. The police are going looking for them. But every time them young black children, having a good time, smoking a little weed, drinking the Red Bull, and I don't know, there's drink something now, I don't know the name, but the energy drink and the Guinness and so on, the police step on them. There was a funeral one time in Buxton, young boy died and so on, and I was out there, and as I was leaving, the police are telling me, Dr. Hines, they walk on get hard now. I said, why? They said, well, once you there, them young people behaving themselves. But if you go now, they're going to misbehave, and it's trouble for we. The assumption they make about young black kids. It is true. Whenever I have been places where young people are, I don't see they behave bad, for the most part. And even if they behave bad and they notice that, they say, sorry, doc, and so on, right? They get manners. But they understand clearly why they're being treated as son, because they're black. I don't have to tell them that. But when politicians go and telling them about youth and don't put African behind it, they tune me out. They tune me out. I myself, sometimes I'm surprised. You go in the little stores, you go in the baker shop, you go in them young people that they're selling, they're walking. Young women, young thing. And they're surprised sometimes to see me. And then I say, well, why you are surprised? Well, leaders don't come in the shop and buy porn and gaffing and so on and thing. But keep up the good work. You're standing up for black people. The young people are conscious of what's happening to them racially. Even when they're running behind the PPP, putting on the shot and so on, because of the $40,000 and so on. They know that the PPP doing it for racial reasons. It's we, the leaders, who are not conscious. So when I read in, but you all talk about Melly Mel, the one thing that you all are missing is that Melly Mel getting the treatment she getting because she is black, and they're disrespectful of black people. They're not going to plant weed on an 87-year-old Indian woman. And this had nothing to do with the fact that I'm not saying they should go and plant weed on Indian people. You all don't get me wrong. I'm just saying they would not go and plant weed on a whole Portuguese lady or a whole Indian lady or a whole Chinese lady. But they're going to watch some big black women, and go and plant weed on them. The profile. We are drugs people. We ain't good for nothing. Everybody does smoke for recreation, but black people does smoke to get on bad. When I talk like this, they say David Hines teaching race. And when black people can't take it no more and they decide to really get on bad, they're going to blame David Hines. That's what they set it up to do, They know that black people ain't going to take this forever and forevermore. So they want to blame people like me for giving black people black ideology. But I ain't going to stop. I'm glad you all realize that the black ideology getting black people who are going to do it every day. If there are 10 days in a week, I'm going to come here 10 days a week. Anyhow, I think we are ready to roll. Good evening to all of you. Good night to some of you who are very far. You're going way far to England. You're going away and so on. You're all gone long in front. First time I go Canada, you know, me a friend named Brian Moses. He live far out. So we there in Toronto. And we there by Pudding. We said, well, Pudding, we want to go by Brian. Brian live out a far place. They Pudding Brian. Brian live till Albion by. And you got cross over Bobby's. You see where you are there in England, you are there far. Nighttime for also for catch morning. Good night, good Asher Young and all the crowd there in England. And so good night to you all. Good morning. It's already morning. Also catch morning. Good evening to you all in the Big Apple. Don't call New York them name of the Big Apple. Rastaman say Old York. Make in Old York. In boxing, we said when you left for Brooklyn, they said when you left boxing for Guyanese, because Annandale next door to boxing. Because people in Brooklyn don't know what's going on in boxing. You're dead in boxing, you know. People dead there, and people call you from Brooklyn. You hear Miss Vashti, you hear Miss this, you hear such story. You hear they know the story in Brooklyn long before you're there in boxing there. So when you left for Brooklyn, we said, you're going there. You're going. That's why my friend Danette Booker, she moved out from Brooklyn and she gone to Pennsylvania. And then she put in, she said, I am joining you, Dr. Hines, from PA. PA, you want to play bright? You want to play bright for me? I'm joining you from PA. Danette, good evening. Good evening. I spent 4 months in Guyana and you were missing in action. No cook up rice, no nothing, nothing. Other people got cook for we. When you tell Danette cook, you said, Danette, bring the food for 8 o'clock. Danette send the food since 4 o'clock. She's very prompt. She don't make joke. Now we miss the prompt food. We got here late food this time. Oh boy, good evening. Welcome to Politics 101. Let me bring in my brothers because time going. You all can't set tonight. Last night, you all there in between. You all watching Guyana and the CPL, and you all get one INA and so on and think tonight, Guyana not playing. Due to you all standing captain, Mr. Hope, Shea Hope, he make me lose last night. They're very, very bad decisions. But anyhow, that is the cricket. Good evening to all of you. Good evening, Coretta McDonald. You stop talk to me. What are you telling me? Hi, David. Good night to you and your viewers watching here from Blackout City. You all get blackout in Guyana, in Georgetown, in Guyana. What's new? Coretta, you stop talk to me. You don't come a program no more. Me turn on this program, you're there on that program, you're there on all the programs them. You ain't coming here, you get very racial. I am not Mark Light friend. Me and Mark Light friend, me not keep company like that. Me not keep them kind of company that. So I'm glad let me and you make her back. And next week you're gonna come on the program and you're gonna think, oh, you won't get blackout next week. All right, I think we're ready to go. Apostle London, good evening. Mr. Wayne Caesar, good evening. Welcome to your first edition of Politics 101. Politics 101.
Good evening, Dr. Hines. Good evening, Apostle London. Pleasant good evening to you both. And good evening to the listening audience.
Greetings to you both and to those who are viewing as well. It's an honor to be here.
You see, they never lick down Coretta McDonald house. They do what's done though. they terrorize she, they call she all kind of name, she this, she that, she the terror, and so on. She drawing two pay, she drawing GTU pay, and she drawing a parliamentarian pay, as if we parliamentarians, we don't have professional parliament. All them get out of job. All them get out of job. All them get out of job. They draw the minister money, and then they draw the parliamentarian money. But they're picking on Coretta McDonald. Say some constitution said that Coretta mustn't draw. She pay for she profession. But they can draw the pay for the profession and then draw the pay for robbing Guyanese people, the majority in parliament. So what does Melly Mel, and this is, I'll give you all a quick quiz, Sir London and Sir Caesar. What does Melly Mel and Coretta McDonald have in common? I'll start with you, Mr. Caesar. You're new, so you're going to take the new ball.
What does Melly Mel and Coretta McDonald have in power? In common.
Apart from the fact that they're opposing the government.
Okay. They are both women. They are both women of African descent. And these two women is the type of women that they get in a boxing ring and you knock them down, they're going to get right back up and the fight continues. So they would not be good for any government. Okay? And that's what we're seeing here.
Pastor London, ultimately,
yes.
What was Coretta and Melly Mel and all them women then kneel down on the chest in Moko and spit on them and lick down the style. What they have in common?
Well, thank you. And I think we can all arrive at consensus that they're both descendants of Africans and they represent an ethnic group who, in the minds of some, maybe, deserve to be oppressed as firmly as ever to the point where they crumble.
You see how my panelists are bright boys. That's why they're in Politics 101. My brothers, here we go again. Melly Mel, who apparently does her thing on social media. She does her thing. She exposes the government, etc., etc. And they decided that they're going to send the police to her mother and her grandmother, and her little son, I understand, was there. And they're going to plant weed outside the paling. What, and I'm starting with you, Apostle London, what is the significance of that whole scenario? What is the subtext? What does that scenario tell us about our country and about ourselves as a society?
It is one of the most troubling situations that I can recall in recent history for me, because of the extent to which an aspect of the state or an arm of the state would have been used against us as a people, and more so against an elderly woman who is deemed to be almost incapacitated to some extent. Based on reports, she stopped eating for about 3 weeks. And the terror, this is tyranny on a whole different scale, because they have decided they will not even consider age, medical condition, or anything anymore when it comes to the tyranny and the terrorism that which Guyanese would now have to experience. So when I saw this, it was quite perplexing to me to know that, even more importantly, I would like to know about the ethnic composition of the group of policemen who would have been there. This is important for us to take note of.
Yes.
Because the Guyana Police Force, they've said, is predominantly African descendants. So it is more than likely that African descendants, and when I saw one of the videos, there was an African descendant hopping into the vehicle, into the pickup. So I would really love to know the names of these people, the ethnic composition of the group, because it plays into the hand of our culture, which is that Africans are to be oppressed by Africans through instructions from someone else. And that in itself is a glaring atrocity against us as a people.
Brother Wayne, same question to you. What does this whole troubling situation, what does it represent? What does it tell you about those who govern? What does it tell you about the state of our country at this particular time?
Dr. Hines, you speak of those who govern. Right now, I am having a problem believing that there is a government in Guyana. I would more align the PPPC with a terrorist organization right now. Okay, because I don't think you just walk into someone's home without a warrant or anything showing, you know, and you ransack the person's home, you plant weed in the backyard. No, you have a 87-year-old woman. What if she went into to cardiac arrest based on the shock of the police just entering the premises and just ransacking the whole place? What would have happened at that point? And then, look, to see that the government went into such an action, doesn't it paint a picture that what Melissa Atwell, aka Melly Mel, would have brought to the table is actually the truth? Because the truth really hurts, okay? And that this is the PPP way of reacting. And I am not surprised, Dr. Hines, because these guys in leadership, I refuse to call them politicians also. These guys are a set of unlearned gangsters. So that's where I'm going to stop with this. It is totally wrong. It is outrageous. At some point, there is going to be a boiling point and the community is going to start reacting. You know, we have a lot of human rights organizations around the world, and I know that they're looking in and seeing what is happening here. And the silence of them is deafening. But let the people react, and then everybody's going to want to come to the table. I stop here for now, Dr. Hines.
Brother London, I call a whole string of women, from women lawyers to women police to women trade unionists to women in the village trying to make a living selling, mining pig and cow and so on, to women who are homemakers. Why are they targeting Black women? Why? To help us to understand what is this thinking. We know they're targeting Black people. We know that. Why this particular targeting of Black women from Melly Mel go right through? The
unfortunate truth is that the African woman in Guyana represents nowadays a degree of strength that is hardly seen in many of our men. Many of our men have cowered and kowtowed to pressure, and we can understand sometimes why. They have family to feed, and some of them tell me plainly that they have to support, well, pretend to support the PV because they have to eat. I don't subscribe to that nonsense, but it's just said anyway. And many women have been very, very vociferous. When you see this protest action, most people are females. The females are on the front line. The females are standing there and they're chanting with passion. Females are prepared to be arrested to some extent. And so the general nature of the male in the People's Progressive Party, the top brass, is to despise females, especially females who are even ready to take the risk of telling them that they're wrong. And if you observe the nature of these people, I have never heard one single East Indian female in the PPP's cabinet, or whatever you call it, criticize a male. Never once have they tried it. They dare not try it. I am told, based on my observation, therefore, that, or my observations inform me, that any African, therefore, female who decides to take a stand, you will be treated with such force that it's a message being sent here that you'd better be subjected to us or else, because it is known by many people that African women have a degree of strength within them that is unmatched by any ethnicity. We survived centuries of torture and turmoil, centuries of rape, centuries of being beaten and killed and slaughtered. We watched that to some extent, our women, and they still thrive. They still have the will to persevere. And so now we have a group of men in the PPP who I have seen, and I'm convinced they hate females, more so African descendants. They hate women. You can't tell me anything. I know that they hate women because the number of things were done even to women of Amerindian descent, and they do nothing about it because they hate females.
Brother Wayne, why are they targeting women? Why?
I think Apostle would have hit the hammer directly on the nail with that. Because when you look at a society in India, for example, the female is always submissive to the male. And Apostle London would have talked about the African, the female of African descent and the strength that they possess. I mean, men of African descent have a pretty difficult time with our wives already. You know, if our wife, to the extent our wife is a woman of African descent. So picture her being submissive to a male of another race. That is going to be pretty difficult. So yes, it puts the women out there in the limelight. And when you look at a lot of these social media programs and you look at the makeup of the audience, it's women that is dominating the conversation on these programs, right? And Apostle London hit it. He hit a lot of things in his first few comments here that I am totally in agreement with. I always ask the question, and in the Mocha situation, I did the same, Dr. Hines. Where are our males? Once in Guyana, the male of African descent was so powerful. Where is that power? You know, are we just going to be laying over for these people to just continue to walk upon us? So at some point, you know, we need to start standing up, right? And I feel like if that standing up would come when our opposition put themselves in a position where they are agreeing, even if they're not going to initiate protests, they're going to agree to support protests, because protests move mountains, man. And we are not showing enough resistance right now. And these people are just continuing to walk right over us. So I feel like if we need to put in place a measure of resistance, it is high time now.
Pastor Apostle London, what is Melly Mel doing that is causing these people to get so nasty? There must be something she's doing.
There is, and I must applaud her, because her style of doing it is what would drive the likes of Jagdio insane. She is very frontal, she brash. I know not to say that negatively. She took upon herself an unusual burden, which would be to, as an African descendant, as a female, as a young female who doesn't have all the PhDs and all kind of thing behind the name, she decided, you know what? I will tell you that you're rotten, that you're corrupt, that you're wicked, and I'll prove it. So she jumped beyond the norm, way beyond the realm of normalcy, and said, I'll be in your face, and I'll tell you in the worst possible way how corrupt you are. Now, once you do that to tyrants, and that is done to people who believe that they are superior to others, because let us not forget, I've said it and I will continue to say it, Jagdio and others are seeking to create a society in Guyana whereby there is such a dominance in terms of ethnic dominance that African descendants will have maybe a lifetime to try to catch up. A super society, I call it. And so when you have a female of African descent deciding to hop into this furnace and say, you know what, this is how I know you're wicked, and she begins to spew and rightfully so publish evidence that they know is irrefutable. These people have tripped, as we say in Guyana, they've lost it, they've gone crazy because a woman who is so young and an African descendant who's not a multi-millionaire in US currency and whatever should never take this risk. You should never, don't even think that you could be so crazy to jump in our faces. And not just the political entities, she went to law enforcement, the top brass, and said, this is what y'all are doing too. It takes a degree of courage for a female to do that, that these males who are, as I say again, so, who possess so much hatred for women, they can't deal with such a young African descendant doing that to them. And that is why they will have to go to the end of the earth to seek to eliminate Melly Mel, because they can handle what she represents.
Yeah. Their image of the black woman is the big party and fete.
Right.
That let us bring. That's their image of the young black woman. The big party and the fete and dress up with the color hair and so on. That is their image of the black woman. And I am not putting down women who want to party. Go on party. I am not allowing nobody to tell me that black women going and party, something wrong with them. Everybody just go and party. I just walk, I say I don't get around much now, but I just pass around. And when you're watching them bar and so on, them big bottle rum now, it's not African when they can't afford it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's women of other ethnicity who not supposed to be in the rum shop. Now drinking the biggest bottle, Grey Goose and White Goose and Brown Goose and so on. So don't tell me that if black women party, something wrong with them. Go and party. If you want to color your hair, you have the freedom to do it now. A piece of time you can color your hair. So I might not agree with somebody color, but color your hair. So I'm not taking agency away from our black women. My point is that they have figured out an image of black women in their minds. And this is the black woman in the dance hall, the black woman from the corner, carrying on and going on and get on. And they don't figure in their mind black women who can stand up to them. That's why they have a problem with Coretta and the girl from Mackenzie there with you there. Vanessa and my friend Simona. They have a problem with these women because these women in your face, like any other women, but they're in your face with spunks. As we said, you know, long time, you all look really young than me, but long time we used to say, you get more seed than Ballinger.
Right.
Them woman, this Melly Mel and them lady from Moko and Correct and them, they get seed than plenty Ballinger. And that is what the PPP cannot take. They would rather you, Apostle, Wayne, they would rather see us at the bar, sit down having a drink, having a beer. We're harmless in that way. We drink up, we get drunk, we talk story, and we think and we go home. They don't have a problem with us there, and so on. But once we go beyond that image of the black man and the black woman, you drive fear in them. Brother Archer, Brother Caesar, let's talk about the police force because they are in the middle of this whole thing. They're in the middle of this thing, all right? Now, are we living in a police state? So goes the question. Are we living in a police state? Mr. Wayne Caesar.
Well, there's a few things there, Dr. Hines. Are we living in a police state? Yes, I would say that we're living in a police state. We're living under dictatorship. The PPP is also an ethnocracy. I would put all of those things together as one, because the police force is literally an arm of the PPP that is totally supported by the taxpayers of Guyana. And you see, this is where this really bothers me, because the police force is there to serve and protect the citizenry of Guyana. But in this case, it is not happening. They're abusing them, they're beating them, they're shooting them, they're doing all kinds of things to them. You know, they're taking orders from the government, they're going and executing searches and seizures with false warrants, amongst other things. The top brass in the police force across the board, I'm not going to hesitate, across the board, they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. Okay, period. They're all corrupt. They're all money launderers. All right. And this doesn't just start at the level of the police force, Dr. Hines. When that Vice video would have came out with Barra Jagdeo, he should have been arrested immediately. He should have been arrested immediately. Now, you don't think the top brass in the police force know that they should have arrested Barra Jagdeo immediately? But if he can do such things and get away with it, why can't they? Okay, so then it becomes board of a feather flock together. You know, they're all there. They're all just sucking the people of Guyana, right? Taking all the money across the board, and it's business as usual. Who don't want to open sandpit? Who don't have millions upon millions of dollars deposited into bank accounts at one time and all these type of things? That's why, Dr. Hines, that's one of the things I would have called for us to have, you know, high-level people in government audited every 2 years, so that we can see where they are gaining all this capital, where they are gaining all this wealth from. Because it is not fair to the Guyanese people. There have not been a reduction in taxes. There have not been a reduction in anything in Guyana. They just continue to pay into this police force that is abusing them. Now imagine paying taxes to a force that your young African Guyanese child could go out, or your neighbor's African Guyanese young man can go out and not come home because of that same police force that you essentially are financing. It's not fair to our citizens, Dr. Hines. I believe that Guyanese are living under a police state. I believe that the Guyana police force stokes fear into the Guyanese people. I feel that people are very fearful of coming out and protesting, amongst other things. And we have to remember, the Guyana police force is there for all Guyanese, not just the PPP. And this is where, Dr. Hines, I am having some issues with the posture of the opposition, but I'm sure you will get to that later. So I will leave that for later.
Apostle London, you're an expert on many things, but I can say with confidence that you have made this police force a study. I've listened to you, and whenever you talk about them, you're quite clinical and analytical. He put them in historical perspective, in contemporary perspective. Are we living in a police state?
We are, definitely, and I appreciate your analysis. We must understand why the police existed after slavery. Mm-hmm. It's necessary to go there because once we go there, we'll understand why they are necessary now for the PPP. And before slavery was abolished, there was nothing called police. There was no need for them according to the masters and these people. They didn't need them. But once the Africans were deemed to be free, suddenly there was need for policemen. In Guyana, the freedom of the African descendants must be curtailed by a force, and by a force of people who look like them. So that when those people come after you, you cannot say that they're racist, because at the end of the day, if I come to arrest you, how am I racist if I look like you? And this strategy is being used to oppress Africans, because the PPP must master the art of oppressing one of the most powerful ethnic groups to ever walk this earth. And it's done through the means of weaponizing people who call policemen. Also through the means of convincing the population, the target group, that if you only risk coming up against us, we're going to use the police to come up against you. And that is what a police state looks like, whereby I can be driving to the city tonight and a swarm of police officers comes around my vehicle and say that you have been, we need you at the station because of cybercrime, cyberbullying. Somebody called and said you called name on this program and you heard their feelings. And my family do not see me for 5 or 6 days. That would send shockwaves through so many groups that people be cautious and very careful about how they act. And that is what the group of men who seek to dominate our country want. However, there's always something in the United States that reminds me of our history as Africans, and I would call some of us Hebrew people. After 400 years of enduring something, we decided we're not going to endure this anymore. And when you see you get to that stage where history begins to repeat itself and we say, we are not going to do this anymore, there will be an awakening, and this has begun already. And that awakening says even to those in the police circles that what you're doing to your people is wrong, because I hear from them and they know that it's wrong, but some of them try to protect their position and their food rather than their conscience. I would the day would arrive when our police officers, most of you, would protect your conscience. You wouldn't starve. Protect your conscience.
Pastor Apostle London here tonight, along with Wayne Caesar. Wayne Caesar has his own show on Saturday nights on Benchop Radio 107. Is it 107.1?
Yes, Dr. Hines, 107.1. Yes.
And you're on at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
At 7 every Saturday, yes.
And your show is called
Over to You.
Over to You. I know you want to say something about the stance of the opposition as we weather with what is more than a storm in Guyana. To be fair, the PNC and the AFC were very quick in putting out statements condemning what happened to Melly Mel. But you wanted to say something about the stance of the opposition in this whole scenario, not just in the Melly Mel thing, but generally. Over to you.
Yes, Dr. Hines, I believe, right, the stance of the opposition when it comes to protest, it's not correct. I think the posture needs to change. Even if you don't 100% outright support protests, you have to give your people the constituency, because we have to remember these MPs, the leader of the opposition, all these people get paid every month. Okay, the people on the ground is the one who is facing the brunt of what the PPP is doing right now. Okay, when it comes to cost of living, amongst other things. All right. So if the people decide that they want to formulate a protest action, which is their right, and I would encourage people to do so if they are disgruntled at things that government or the government is doing, if they have issues with government policies and these type of things. These are the type of issues that trigger protests. And I would encourage people to be peaceful in their protests, because you don't want them to destroy property. That's going to be at a cost. You don't want to create additional expenses. We already in issues already from a financial perspective. You don't want to create more of that. But as an opposition, I would say if people want to protest, I would support them. I think that is the thing that creates a lot of fear in Guyanese also. They are fearful of going out there and protesting, and fearful of going out there and speaking out. Because if the PPP decides to ill-treat them, there is no opposition to represent them. There is no representation in place for them. So I think they need to come back with that approach, come back a bit different with that approach when it comes to protests. I think the posture needs to change. Apostle London, I don't know if you want to add a little to this, but I feel like if you would want to add something to it.
Over to you, Professor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My question or my concern would have been not statements, but why has Joshua not been shut down yet? Because this is an 80-plus-year-old female of African descent, or female in general, who policemen. She wasn't eating for but 21 days. They're trying to feed her and so on. And those are all signs when, of course, at that age. Now to know young police officers can go into a home, ransack the house with a female of that age inside, my concern would be, why was there not a more overt response that sends a clear message to these tyrants that you are not as strong as you think you are, and you're not getting away with what you think you can? It bothers me when we don't have certain responses. I do applaud, because I saw a plethora of lawyers who would have written to Hicken saying, you need to answer. You need answers within 48 hours. That's excellent. To see this battery of lawyers come together and say, you have to answer or else. That's good. But most of society, most of the African descendants and other people, we're not legally inclined in that way. We want action. And so when you cross certain lines, in my viewpoint, there has to be certain degrees of responses that are taken. There has to be. Because if you don't respond, then people begin to walk on you over and over and over and over again. There has to be. As I speak to you now, I'm being informed that there is, even in Miller's Ward here, yet again, another effort by Central Housing Planning to go and build those people's houses. Yet again. Right now, as I talk to you, what's going to be the response? People need to see the presence of their leaders taking action that says to all and sundry, we are prepared to live and die to protect the integrity of our people. That's important, because the PPP did it.
The PPP did it. I hear you guys. You know, after the 1973 election, but even before then, you know, Mr. Burnham used to tell his supporters, watch with me one more night. He was out there with them, rallying them, the rallying cry. After the 1973 election, Dr. Jagan declared civil disobedience. He pulled his parliamentarians out of parliament, signaling to his supporters, here is something, here's a fighting strategy. Walter Rodney came on the scene. He said, people's power, no dictator. He said, this government must go by any means necessary. Fighting thing, giving his supporters something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Desmond Hoyt came in. He said,
slow fire, more fire.
And when they decide that slow fire ain't enough, he said, well, more fire, and I am making this country ungovernable. In the history of protest, when you are protesting, you give your people something to rally them. And I've been saying, and I am putting myself in, because I am part of the formal opposition, because I belong to an opposition party. We have not put anything before our people as an opposition. When Jack Dio, for that 5 years he was out, he said, when Granger come, chase them out. When the police come, chase them out. I am not saying I agree with all those people. Well, I have to agree with Rodney because I was with he. So I have to agree with he. I'm not necessarily saying agree with all. What I'm saying, when you're in opposition, people are not going to come out on the street just like that and say, you know, let me go and think. They look for leadership, and they look for signal from their leadership, and you give them something to hold up, something that says to them, this, my leader intend to fight. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've said to Brother Aubrey, I don't get to talk to Nigel as often, But I talk to Brother Aubrey very often. And I've said to Aubrey in private, and I've said it in public. This era needs a robust joint opposition. I am not saying that we political parties, we must come out and declare to the public what our strategy is, what our tactics are. There, certain things must be done behind the scene. Oh, Gangang, when they were buying the village, the old lady that a Gangang, when they're planning how they go thing and so on, she said, picnic, bush gatties. So we have to be conscious that bush gatties and certain plans you don't discuss in public. But just as Jack Dio could have said in public, chase them out. Chase the police out. Just as how Jagan could have said in public, civil disobedience and pull his parliamentarians from parliament. Just as how Rodney could have said, this government must go by any means. All those are legitimate utterances. What makes them illegitimate today? So it's a self-criticism. And I do agree with you all that our formal opposition got wheel and come again. I am not saying that, go there and tell people go lick down and broke up and so on, because they're anticipating that. They have the plans in place for that. But Teacher George, teach we in boxing. Where Guinea border Allah, not the yele. And if Teacher George could know that, what's wrong with all them this who've been a big university? I agree with you all. We opposition got wheel and come again. Got wheel and come. And that includes myself. Because like I said, I am part of the opposition. But I am at one with you all. All of us, you, Apostle, you win, Caesar. You understand you're a big, you deal with money. You're a accountant. You handle money. I know Apostle is a teacher. Yes. I am a teacher. We are, like all of the people in the audience, product of education. Yeah. Education. Had it not been for education, I would just want a day to day. Huh? Education. I usually say to Black people when I talk to them, education is how you bought right. Because they block you all from everything else. Yes. They block you all from entrepreneurship. They block you all from this. They block you all from that. And the one thing that we fight and we hold on to is education. I go back in my village now, and they get people I went to school with. Some of them had to leave school before 4th standard because parents there, they got to go in the back dam and walk and so on. But in those days, you could have left school at 3rd standard and 4th standard. You're bright like a bulb. You're bright like a bulb. You not do well at common entrance, you do CP. And you pass your CP and you come in at high school at 4th Farm. And you do as well as those of us who was there from Farm 1. Nobody know that, well, you didn't do well in common entrance. I'm saying it was a colonial education system. But it was a system that we made to work for us. Mr. Burnham came in and he did something miraculous. People like Walter Rodney could not have gotten to go to Queen's College had it not been for the laws passed by the 1953 government when Burnham was education minister, making it possible for poor people, children, to go to QC and bishops and so on. Burnham later would put in place free education from nursery to university, that people like myself didn't have to pay 1 damn cent to go to UG. If we had to pay to go to UG, some of us might have made it. Some of us, my mother was overseas, she might have scrambled up a little bit of money, but it would have been a stretch. For a number of people, we could not have gotten to UG without free education put in place by Burnham. And it hurts. I'm coming with my question. That now you see this education system, 50% of our people are dropping out. I am hearing when you go into Farm 1, where they call it grade now, but when those who start out, let's say in Farm 1, if you get 30 students in a class, start out at Farm 1, by the time you get to CSEC and whatever exam they sit there, when you get to that point, less than 20% of those who start out in Farm 1 are sitting the exam. So when we are seeing 31% of our young people, our children are failing maths, are passing maths, sorry, which 69% failing.
Failing, yes.
69 passing English, which means 31 failing. Those figures are nice, because if you add the dropout into those figures, they are worse. And we have an education ministry that is more concerned about the children who are cramming and passing 30-something subject, 20-something subject, than helping those who need to stay in school in the first place. And those who manage to stay, to help them and equip them to pass. Rather than paying attention to that, you're paying attention to quote unquote the high flyers. In any case, I am reliably informed that the minister and the ministers they pick me don't go to them public schools. When Caesar, talk to me about what's happening in education, because I'll break down and cry here at what I am seeing in education in my country.
Well, Dr. Hines, like you said, I know it to be a 48% dropout rate, but now I guess it went up even higher, and I am not surprised that it has gone up higher. I always felt that we had a problem when it comes to matriculation from the high school level over to university. But it doesn't surprise me because I'll use myself as an example. Whatever I do, and I've learned better now to be an independent thinker now, so I think a bit differently now. But before, whatever I did, it had to be a means to an end. So if you're asking me to go to high school, I'm looking at once I graduate high school, I must be able to go to university. That means you literally have to dingle a carrot in front of me and I'll work. Okay? Now, when you look at high school students or secondary school students in Guyana, whatever you want to call it, when you look at these students, what incentive is government giving them, right? To work hard to make sure that they get these CXCs and move on to university. What's the end to the means? Okay, where is that means going to lead them? All right, I feel like if that is one of the things that is causing the major dropouts, because university is not cheap in Guyana, okay, and parents is already struggling with cost of living, right? So to be dealing with cost of living and then have to pay for a child to go to college, that's a lot, and in some cases multiple children. So that's a lot. So I feel like if that is part of the matriculation issue when it comes to high school, when you look at university, it's obvious. It is not free. So you're going to have a matriculation issue there also, where you're not going to have a whole lot of people graduating from university because many of them cannot afford it. Now, also, when you look at the classroom, now, Apostle London could better address this than I can by leaps and bounds, because he's a teacher by nature, okay? We're talking about our teachers. In order to up, the matriculation levels, you need to have good teachers in place. They need to be compensated properly, so that they will invest their time and be upbeat about teaching their children and making sure that everybody is passing their courses and what's not. But what's ironic about this PPP government, this transactional PPP government, is that they're complaining there's no fiscal space within the budget to accommodate teachers and giving them a raise and compensating them correctly and these type of things. But yes, there's fiscal space within the budget that will not affect anything in the country from an economic perspective. There is fiscal space to go out and take multiple loans to do infrastructure amongst other things. So what we're experiencing, the struggles that we're experiencing in our education system is due to government not investing in our young people. And this is essentially, Dr. Hines and Apostle, going to equal to a very rough future for Guyana when it comes to having educated professionals. That's why they're always saying, yes, we have these positions open, but we don't have skilled Guyanese. Whose fault it is? Government fault, in my opinion, for failing our people continuously. You know how many careers, Dr. Hines, if we can go back to 1992, 91, when the PPP take power to now, you know how many careers the PPPC government would have destroyed? Many, thousands. Over to you guys.
Professor London, and because you've earned it. Professor London, I put 3 daughters through university. They came in this house that I'm in now, and they see books. I didn't have to tell them anything. They walk, book. They go in the kitchen, book. Right? So they do what they had to do by silent example. When I was where they were, we didn't have books in the house. The house is too small for all we, much more for all we, and books, right? But yet, the outcome from them and my outcome were the same. Which means there was something back then with me, growing up in a house without books, just the books that we ever use in school or university or whatever. Other than that, you won't get space. So other thing, you'll get the Bible and so on, and thing, but no big book and all this kind of story. What is it that worked then for poor people? In the education system that is not working now for poor people? Talk to me, Professor.
Excellent question, Dr. Hines. What worked then and what is not working now has a lot to do with the quality of leadership we had in our country and the value that education placed in the minds of the leaders, not the people. Because the desire and the influence to lead a nation in reference to education comes from the leadership of that nation. And the quality of education ministers we had, you mentioned Forbes Burnham, for example, a visionary who understood the potency of being informed and the power of educating people. More so, he knew there are many who had a desire to matriculate, enter university, but didn't have the means to do it. So he created a platform that people could thrive on, even though you didn't have much. That is severely lacking in our society today, because people don't have a great value for education in reference to many leaders. Look at how education is being treated. Look at how people want to dance around and say they're building new schools, for example, just as to cheer and say, hey, listen, we did better than Granger or whoever else it is. We commissioned 16 or 10 new schools. But what is the quality, even of the structure itself? We're not going to the teachers yet. What is the quality of the structure in itself? Air Finale talk about global warming, because he partnered with me and Motley, and he said, listen, we're being affected by...
Hello. Good morning. Hi. Morning. Morning, every morning. Are you morning? Are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 19 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. How you been? How was your weekend? How was your last night? How you wake up this morning? Which side of the bed you wake up this morning on? Do you feel energized? Do you feel optimistic? How do you feel this morning? What were you able to do with your weekend? You made some extra cash, you make some money. Were you able to set goals and accomplish them? What about your last week, your entire week? What were you able to achieve last week? At the end of the last week, did you feel, well, hey, it was worth it? I did it my way and it was worth it? Whatever it is, I wish you success this week. I wish you good health. I wish you the Creator's mercies and guidance. These are challenging times. Very, very challenging times. Let's tell you something. Suddenly, I don't even feel like I got the energy. It happens. For some reason, anyhow, I don't need to tell you that. For some reason or other, I just don't. I woke up with the energy, but as soon as I sat here, for some reason or other, gosh, the energy just evaporated, if I can call it that. I tell you, I'm a softie. I'm some things, and some things hit me. They really take me hard. All right, let me tell you. Let me see what the viewership is like. Come on, y'all, share the life. Please do that. Thank you. There's several things I want to address this morning. I want us to talk about the attack on religious freedom in this country. I want to talk about that. I want to revisit the issue of noise nuisance in this country, because I noticed Deadfall. I noticed Deadfall has started to talk about noise nuisance, and the law will take its course, and so on and so on and so forth. I noticed one of the things that the nosy neighbor at Tushen complained about from Dotson, who has a wash bay, was about noise. I noticed that the Christian community in Mabruma, that's region 1, came under attack over the last several days. First time perhaps in the history of this country have I heard police walking into people's church and locking them up and so on, because they are using musical instruments in their worship. I've never heard police walking into the mosque and locking up anybody for noise nuisance when it's a known fact. I can tell you all a joke just now. When it's a known fact that the Muslim community has, in most instances, connected to the mosque, a loud hailer, which sometime around 6 in the morning, or those who are Muslims can correct me in terms of the time, blares, right? Blares for call to prayer. And the joke I remember when I thought about it is, I grew up hearing, well, I can't remember at what point in my life I want to joke, but there was this mosque in the neighborhood, and every morning at a certain time it broadcasts Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wherever. And let me say, I don't intend to disrespect anybody's religion. I'm hopefully teaching or expressing my opinion on the unequalness of us here in Ghana. And so one man in the community got fed up when he got to them. He said, every morning, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. How much you Akbar? How much you Akbar? Let me pay it off. So that I ain't got to hear every morning, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Right? In the aggression, aggravation, whatever of the individual, he interpreted what was being broadcast as O Akbar, whereas it was saying Allahu Akbar. It's a joke. And so he went and he said, hey, how much are you Akbar? Let me pay it off so you ain't got to be lamenting every morning. Good. But even in that instance, I don't know that the police went to the place of worship and seized anything or locked up anybody. You know, the one thing we have grown accustomed to in this country, I would say, is religious tolerance. In many other places, you have religious wars. Hindus fighting Muslims, Christians fighting Muslims, or vice versa, and so on. But in many cases, you have these religious wars where people destroying other people's, other denominations' place of worship, and so on. But in Ghana, we have over the years shown religious tolerance. Right next to a Hindu temple is a Muslim mosque, is a Christian church. I've seen communities like that. They don't go at each other's throat. They don't bomb each other. They don't burn down each other's building. They don't maybe openly criticize each other. Muslim holidays, Christians partake. Hindu holidays, Christians partake. Christians holidays, Muslims and Hindus partake. Some will argue to a lesser degree, but the fact is, there has been an exhibition over the years of religious tolerance in this society. And anybody who puts that at threat, at risk, I should say, should be condemned and should be made to pay the price for putting that religious peace at risk. And so this morning I'm saying the officer, the police in charge, the officer in charge of the Mabaruma sub-district for the Ghana Police Force should immediately be withdrawn from that area. And the Ethnic Relations Committee perhaps should be brought in to lecture to that officer and his entire station staff on religious tolerance. Maybe the entire Ghana police force needs such a lecture. The Rastafarians are already being persecuted for weed, a giant spliff, something that they consider the holy sacrament. Now we're seeing Christians are going to be persecuted, at least in the Mabruma sub-district, for their worship songs and the use of musical instruments. And in Nanlal, on one of his broadcasts I saw, said that people have a right to listen to the music, but the neighbors also have a right to not hear the music, or something to the extent. That might be fair comment, fair outlook. But what goes to the goose goes to the gander. And so how could it be right for the seaters and the tashers and the leases to be disturbing an entire neighborhood for several hours of the day without the police taking any action despite several complaints for years. But on the receipt of a complaint from a member of the Hindu community, I think, there is swift action by a police commander who by his name is apparently Hindu, Krishna, wherever, or wherever Krishna. There can be no balance there. Let me share with you so that you would understand what we're talking about. I'll be honest with you this morning. Pearl, that's the woman's name, on Pearl Lewis on Sherry Street, complains to me every living day, I would argue, about noise nuisance affecting herself, her children, her grandchildren, and the neighbors. I'm scrolling here and I see the 25th of August. I wonder if these things will play now. They've been a while. The 25th of August, the 26th of August, the 27th of August, the 29th of August, right? The 31st of August. Days in succession of these people complaining. 30th of August about noise nuisance. 1st of September. So you notice what I'm saying, right? 1st of September. A post was even made calling on the minister for assistance. 8th of September. Let me hear it.
It is 2:45 a.m. in the morning.
Listen to the time.
Sunday.
Listen to the time.
8th of September, 2024.
Listen to the time.
It is 2:45 a.m.
2:45 a.m.
Sunday, the 8th of September, 2024. We're being tormented by loud music, voices, disorderly behavior from Lisa's restaurant and bar.
Right? The 10th of September.
I'm just making a little recording as proof.
11th of September.
As I run out of
all
words.
of these recordings.
There's nothing more I can say.
3:32 hours in the morning.
There's nothing more I can say.
It is now 3:32 a.m. in the morning, Monday, 23rd of September. That is today. The lawlessness continues on Sherry Street. It is time you people at the helm get out of your comfort zone and get a command of this shitty situation. After warning of a campaign against noise nuisance must be launched, the announcement or warning to these people, Mr. Easy, means nothing. This great professionalism needed to prove you are not just a squatter in office. You people are proving yourselves daily to be. What goes to one goes to all. This is a post made by Pearl Lewis.
This place is a disgrace. Guyana has become a cesspit.
Right? I am sure the church.
Please help us.
Yes, so this is Brother Rondell and his father.
We were tormented.
And they're coming out to Marlborough police station here now.
And
up till now, it is still happening. People are still imbibing there. Please help us. I made a call about 10 minutes ago to Operation Room. Nothing. Please help
I'm trying to
us.
find this thing to
Please stop this woman from tormenting and harassing us. Please stop this woman from tormenting and harassing us.
Right? Now that's the plea of Pearl Lewis for as long as I've been doing this program. Pearl and her neighbor, or neighbors I should say, have been complaining about this noise nuisance. But no action has been taken. But because, just like in Tushan, one of them who got connections to the PPP, maybe on a direct dial line to the PPP, complained about the church's music having a psychological impact on him. They can walk into the church and collect the musician and the pastor and so on. Let me play the video for you, and then we'll address other issues in relation to this particular matter.
Yes, so this is Brother Rondell and his father. And they're coming out of Marlborough Police Station here now. He was put on bail. How much money were you put on bail, Brother Rondell? $20,000 bail. And what was the reason for you to be put on bail? For it?
Court.
You had to go to court for what?
Playing music.
Playing music in church. For playing keyboard. Brother Rondell, can you please come? What did the officer say to you?
I have to go to court because of playing music for church and giving God the praise and thanks.
Yes, sir.
And that's why they said that I get charged and I have to go to court for that.
All right.
Because
Amen.
The 18th of November, I have to go to court.
All right. And this is Brother Rondell, father, Brother Sunil. They're members of the church. Amen. God is good. Please support us. Tomorrow morning, we are going to be live in front of the police station here. And we're going to be presenting this case all over social media so that people would know that the church, the Christian community is facing what the Christian community is facing here in the Northwest. And what the people of God has to go through just by serving God in this particular area. Brother Rondell is our musician. He's our keyboard player. And the police officers, they came tonight and they stopped our worship service saying that we have to come down to the police station because of a report that was made. And based on the report that we have to come down here because we are disturbing a man by the name of Mr. Baharali. We found Mr. Baharali when we came here. He said he's emotionally affected by the music of the church because it is affecting him emotionally. That is what the commander said to us, that the man is being affected emotionally. And also that we cannot measure emotion. I said to him, the Environmental Protection Agency came in, they validified the sound system, and it was well below 70 decibel. That is for the sound required for a residential area. And the commander said to us that we are disturbing the community, which is really one man that is being disturbed in the community. According to him, Brother Rondell is our musician, and they're saying that we are disturbing the man emotionally. All right, because the song was measured and we are well between the guidelines. So tonight, Brother Rondell was placed on bail for $20,000 for playing the keyboard. According to the police officers, he's going to be in court on the 17th of November, the 18th of November, for disturbing for disturbing the community playing our keyboard. I would also I have already posted up a video based on the sound system and what was the sound like. This is a crusade that we're having for the Northwest area. Amen. God bless you all. We'll be live tomorrow morning.
So the Guyana Police Force had some things to say. Right? Let me start by saying that the Guyana Police Force is saying that the people of God are liars. Right? The police force said it did not end the church service, but only arrested the keyboard player for playing music too loud. what we call that? Semantics, right? Some people smarter than some. The keyboard player is an integral part of the church, isn't he? Keyboard player is an integral part of the church. And the police believes that they can go into the church and arrest the keyboard player and it will not disrupt the church service. Good? Because the Christian community is so callous that they will see one of their own taken into police custody from, right? From the place of worship. This man wasn't at home when he played music. This man wasn't by the street side when he was playing music. He didn't line in. He was performing what I would say is Christian duty, playing music in the church. The police walked in, and according to them, they arrested him. But they didn't stop the service. They didn't disrupt the service. Here is the statement. Relative to a video circulating on social media, the Guyana Police Force would like to highlight the following facts. On March 3rd, 2024, Sheldon Baharali wrote to the EPA to complain about noise nuisance caused by loud music coming from a church in Settlement, Mabruma Region Number 1. As a result, on Wednesday, September 11th, 2024, EPA officials met with the commander for Region 1, Superintendent Krishna Ramana, at the divisional headquarters office to discuss the complaint. On September 19th and 20th, 2024, Baharali filed 2 reports at the Mabruma police station, stating that the church was playing loud and continuous music, causing annoyance and psychological effects on him and his family. In response to the report, the police visited the church and spoke with Rondell Mongo, who was playing the loud music. He was accompanied by a man named Mr. Ramdeen, who claimed to be the pastor. Mongo admitted to playing the music, but stated that he was not aware of how loud it was. The Guyana Police Force would like to clarify that the rank did not seize any equipment or stop the church service. The pastor was not invited to the police station, but chose to accompany Mongo. The pastor was given a warning and sent away. Good. Let's go through the elements of this statement. On September 3rd, a complaint was made to the police. In fact, to the EPA. The EPA was written to. On September 11th, the EPA met with the commander in the region. And on the 19th, Baharali filed 2 reports, and the police further acted. There's a sequence of events. The release didn't say what was recommended by the EPA. But from the video, the church members said that the EPA went and they tested their equipment and concluded that the equipment did not exceed, or as a matter of fact, was performing at far below the decibels which will constitute noise nuisance. So in short, the EPA is saying to the owners of this equipment, even if you play it at its loudest, it will not break the law. It will not constitute noise nuisance. The police are telling us that. The members of the congregation, in fact, the arrested person and the pastor, that is what they're telling us. I didn't see the police contradicting that in their report. However, they went to the people's place of worship. They say they didn't seize equipment. There was no, from the video I saw, there is no allegations of equipment being seized. But person let me say person, was arrested. The police did not address in their press statement that they placed the keyboardist, the keyboard player, the pianist, if it's a piano, on $20,000 bail. They said the pastor was given a warning. Are you understanding what is happening? As we like to say, they're picking and choosing to address issues. They're not forthcoming with all of the information. And so can you trust the information that they've put in the public? Now, nuisance is all over this country. Just remember Joel Dodson, the youngster from Tushen, said, when complaints were made, the EPA visited him. They gave him guidance. That is why his pressure washer is in a box to contain the noise. But did that stop his neighbor from complaining? Did it stop people from housing and other agencies of the state harassing him? No. In short, even if you are towing the line, even if you're doing your utmost, as Guyanese like to say, utmost best, to act within the confines of the law, political connections trump your rights in this country. Political connection trumps your right in this country. And so Barali can complain and get actions within days. But a poor Lewis could complain for years and can't get action. A Gayatri Prasad could complain and get action every day. But a poor Lewis can't complain and get action because political connections trump people's rights in this country, even if they're living within the confines of the law. And that's a dangerous development. Dictatorship and the oligarchs and the friends and family and favorites of dictators believe that they are the only ones who are entitled to enjoy peace of existence in this country. And it can be right. The church has been silent. The church is a part of the problem. As a case where the chickens are coming home to roost. I'm waiting to hear the churches speak out against this now. Because all of the atrocities that has been happening in this society, the church has been silent. You know who else has been silent in this society? The middle class. We have a middle class in this society that operates as if they live in a bubble. Nothing that affects the rank and file citizens of this country bothers them, impacts their conscience. And so they don't have to speak. They don't have to address the ills of this society because we are middle class, we are insulated. But there comes a time when that insulation gets peeled. And it is then that the middle class and everybody else opens their eyes and say, hey, we need to talk against this. I empathize with Ivor Tom. I empathize with Ivor Tom. An artist extraordinaire, a brilliant mind, all of that. A man who has served this country. A man who has answered the call of the PPP when they called on him. If I'm not mistaken, Ivor Tom was used to design that 1823 monument which sits on the seawall. When the 1823 movement was fighting against the monument being placed on the seawall and instead placed on the parade ground where it rightly, where they believe it rightly should be. The PPP commissioned Ivor Tom, if I remember clearly. And if my information is incorrect, my apologies, because I intend no harm. And he designed that beautiful monument, which is on the seawall there. Sometime thereafter, he became the administrator, the head, the whatever, at the Borough School of Art. I'm sure he was hired for his competence. But just like we know, friends, favorite, and family of dictators triumph the rights of every other citizen in a dictatorship, according to the story reported. I want to cut it short. Mr. Tom had what I consider an altercation with someone who attempted to park in what we like to say restricted parking space, or whatever you want to call it, a private parking space, whatever you want to call it. And of course, in the exchange, he was referred to by his ethnicity. I was told is, so and some people like you got this country where it is, and so on and so forth. But you know what? It didn't end there. The friend of the PPP, the person who had political connections, who was, according to reports, abusive to Mr. Tom, got on the phone and called the political connect. And the professional, the administrator, was summoned to the Ministry of Culture to see the minister immediately. There was no satisfaction to be had. There was no clarification to be had in that discourse, according to the report. But that professional, that competent man was told, you're not the face of what I want to see at Borough School. In short, the abuse that started in the school's compound continued in the minister's office. Black people like you got this country where you are not the, you black so and so, you're not the key face I want to see as a representative of Borough School. At the end of it all, I guess in an effort to preserve his dignity, Mr. Tom resigned. I understand the ministry has issued a statement saying Mr. Tom resigned not because of these things. He resigned because he's under investigation. The kind of investigation which was manufactured to raid Melly Mel's home, I guess. But I want us to take a lesson from that. And what is that lesson? None of us is safe. None. Even if you're middle class. Even if you're better off than the average Afro-Guyanese, you're unsafe. They will use you and then they will discard you at the earliest opportunity or at the earliest request of their friends and favorites. They will discard you. And so there's no real protection for those of you who sit and say, I can't talk because I'm working with the government. I can't talk because I'm the administrator here. I can't join y'all because I'm working here or my child is working here. Even that doesn't protect you. Even that doesn't protect you. And I'm willing to bet that if more of you join those of us who are talking, you will be better protected than if more of you stay quiet. And so while I empathize with Mr. Tom, I want to say to others, take note. Even those of you who are comfortable and willing to serve Massa, with all of the wickedness that they're perpetuating against us African Guyanese, your day will come. Your day will come. They will get to you. Because they already went for the ordinary public servant. They already went for the clerk. They already went for the policewoman and spit in her face. They already went for the lawyer and lock her up for representing her client. And there are many, many other instances where you see that they've gone for our people. They already went for the young man who had the temerity to want to work for himself and earn for his family by a wash bay and a fish shop. Now they've gone for Mr. Tom, a professional middle class, I dare say. Y'all still sitting back to see more? Yeah, sitting back to see. Take note and learn from the lessons of the young man in Tushan, Joel Dotson, I think his name is. He stayed quiet for a while. He suffered in silence. I'm learning that he reached out to several organizations and individuals quietly and nothing was happening. And he got onto social media a few days ago and everything has happened. In other words, he dared to speak, and from speaking, everything has happened. The EPA went back. I saw a video where the ERC went. The ERC visited him, and the ERC visited the neighbor, and the ERC took a fleet of vehicles based on what I was seeing for him to wash. I hope it was not an effort to wash the concerns of those of us who recognize that African Guyanese are coming under serious attack in this society. I've been talking about it for years. I told y'all, watch it. They're going to force you to the periphery. They're going to force you off the edge of this society. Until Joel took to social media and we start sharing it and we start commenting it, the ERC didn't recognize that there was a problem there. The EPA didn't recognize there was a problem there. All of these agencies who might have received their instructions from the Don's president and so, they didn't recognize there were problems there. And the Don's president and so, they didn't recognize that there were problems there. To go and sort it out. But when the voices combined and they start to discuss it and start to talk about it and show the blatant racism, because that is what it is, the apartheid-like conditions on which Guyanese are expected to operate, then is when the ERC found the energy on a Sunday or a weekend to go and interact with Joel and interact with the neighborhood and let them understand that, hey, even this little black boy got a right to live too. Little black boys do have a right to live too. Little black boys do have families too. Little black boys are also citizens of this society, just as though Gayatri Prasad and all the other friends and families of the PPP paid a price for that plot of land. Little black boy paid a price for that plot of land too. So then can it be construed that they got more right to operate businesses, including car wash, and build big edifices and rent to Chinese to supermarkets? But the little black boys don't have that right. Y'all explain it to me. It can only happen because we allow it to happen. We allow it to happen. We are not speaking in a collective voice on these issues. Whether it's the black man in the church, whether it's the black man in the mosque, whether it's the black man in the office, whether it's the black man on the road, we are not speaking in collective voices and taking collective action to address this oppression against our people. And I'm saying to all those of you, tell yourselves that I am in the great house. I am the house slave. And so I'm safer than this field slave. Your day gonna come. Take note. Hint to Benny, but make Kwashiba take notice. Take note. Y'all take note. I'm not rejoicing. Let me make it clear. I'm not rejoicing. I strictly empathize with Mr. Tom. But they say every moment is a teachable moment. Let Mr. Tom's experience teach you. Experience teaches wisdom. The lines are opened. 6225933 is the number to call. And before I proceed with the calls, let me say to you that over the years or the months, we've become accustomed to voice calling this program and telling us, hold faith, we will get there. Some of you call him pastor, some of you call him God man, all kinds of things. I want to tell you this morning, his name, Court Roberts. Yes, he is a pastor. Pastor Court Roberts is from South Renville. And I'm learning this morning. Call hold the line. That he's on his dying. Call and mute your microphone.
Yes, thank you.
I'm learning this morning that he's on his dying bed. I'm asking you to lift up his family and lift him up in prayers, intercession, interceding. The Africans got a tradition where it is, they got a right that it is due to release you back to the Maker. I'm sure instead of prolonged suffering and so on, the family would be comforted with him being released back to the Maker, if he can be restored to good health. From the report I'm getting, he's far gone. And so let us lift up the family, let us give them strength. Just this morning, I received that information. And I am sincerely grateful for the individual who reached out and shared that information. I understand he's in the ICU. And usually when you're in the ICU, not many visitors are allowed. I would have been happy to go see him and definitely see him in better times. And so it has been a lesson to me. I've quietly been asking, but I ain't hearing pastor. Is my pastor there? And so on and so forth. But I never took the time to really search the cause and find the number and reach out to find out what's happening with pastor. But I understand he was struck down. He had an accident, motor vehicle accident, I think, and was taken to the hospital, and then it was found out that he has cancer. And so his situation became compounded. And he's now, quote unquote, transitioning. So let us, those of us who can reach out to his family, do that. And those of us who can lift him up in prayers and ask the ancestors' intervention, do that. Call your life.
Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters, Flash Garden. Thank you very much for that message. Can you recall I called you off the line and asked you that I miss that brother was always said, don't worry, we're going to get there, because couple loss of his message, his voice be changed, and Flash Garden take notice of that. Can you remember I called you?
Yes, you did.
And asked you about him? And I asked you to find out if everything is okay with that brother. You say Flash Garden know about love, unity, and support. You don't have to be a neighbor to demonstrate that. You can be far away. But technology.
I think we have lost Flash as usual. I'm sure he's going to come back to complete his call. The lines are open. 62593 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese morning time. Call it live.
Good morning, Kadaki. I pray that, if past this transition in peace and listening. He has been a very good voice to this program, and we will sure miss him, if ever he goes. I got a question, something been bothering me and tingling around me, People are saying do not protest because it's going to affect the businesses in Guyana. That's one of the things that people are saying. I would like to know if big businesses in Guyana are really concerned about the development of Guyana. And I'm going to tell you why I see it as zero. They ain't concerned about the development in Guyana. All they're concerned about is about their profit. Tell me how many businesses, let's just use Georgetown for one. How many businesses in Georgetown is compliant when it comes to rates and taxes? Tell me how many businesses in Georgetown pays the right duty on imports, etc. Right? And if they were concerned, they would have made sure that rates and taxes are paid. Right? And if they're so concerned, they would open their voices as you talk about the middle class and talk to the government and say, yo, you got to fix this. But they're not concerned. So if one is being affected, every single one of us will have to be affected. Remember, poor man headache is rich man's stress. So it's about time. They have no concern about the development of Guyana. It's all about their bank. We are being hurt. The violence is meted out to our people. So it's time. It is time. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your call.
Kadaki, good morning to you and your listeners. Listening to you this morning, listening to you very carefully. What you are saying is the gospel truth. Kadaki, what you said this morning and all that you said this morning, it is of God? No. Can't be. I listened to a clipping last night where Bharat Jagdeo was so upset and mad because Glenn Lal launched a political party. Jagdeo mad. When you look at his facial expression, you can see the devil in him. Karaki, the reason why Bharat, Nanlal, and the clown behaving like this, the carpet under their feet is shifting, and they are aware of that. They are aware of what is happening. So they're trying to destroy the society as much as they could. But as I mentioned earlier on your program, God has a hand in this. And you could do as much as you want, but not as long as you want. Karaki, boy, this government is toxic, boy. Toxic. That is all I will say for now.
Thank you for that voice note. Call your life.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, everyone. The Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese, wherever we may find ourselves. Political persecution is what's currently happening in Guyana. And now you're seeing religious persecution. We spoke about religious persecution. We spoke about economic. We spoke about political last week and the week before. So now in the churches, you're seeing the PPP exercising by way of the police religious persecution. They're amplifying it more. So we just want people to be more cognizant of the different facets or the different stages of political persecution. And I tell us, for lawyers out there, we must stand on that. And political leaders must begin to form the narrative and enlighten the people that they're being persecuted. Christ was persecuted. African Americans were being persecuted for their race. We are no different. Here is what the United Nations says with regards to persecution, and I quote. It is question is asked, what is the United Nations definition of persecution? And it says, the ICC, the International Criminal Court statute, defines persecution as the intentional and severe deprivation or denial of fundamental rights contrary to international law by reason of the identity of the group. In simple language, you cannot be denying people their fundamental rights to religion, their fundamental rights to freedom of speech, the fundamental rights to be happy and to be secure in the society. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. The right includes freedom to hold your opinions, religious opinions, political opinions, without interference by a PPP or any type of dictatorial government who seeks to deprive or deny us of these rights, to have political opinions, to disagree politically, to go in your church and worship and not be afraid of the state depriving you of the freedom to enjoy and to participate how you see in your worship. That is, when the government is doing that, these are examples of political persecution or religious persecution. And that is what the PPP are doing. I'm still waiting to hear the political narrative from the opposition. Nigel Hughes, Dr. Hines, and Mr. Aubrey Norton combined together. For the past 4 years, we've been saying that we have been persecuted. However, we have not heard the official narrative placed before the United States State Department. Neither have it gone before the CARICOM Oversight Committee, because we're a CARICOM nation. Neither has this gone before the courts. Persecution as a complaint is woefully absent from the narrative. We had the narrative of apartheid. And that was officially placed without any ambiguity as to what we're saying. Now, the umbrella narrative of persecution. And why I stress on this? Because if you are saying, well, I get beat up in the market, I get chased out the church, and you're making that your narrative. My house got pushed down in Mecca because I'm black. Okay, fine. These are elements that we need to say categorically to synthesize our complaints and put it before the State Department, the Character Oversight Committee, and the International Court at The Hague, International Criminal Court, as well, or either or and the International Court of Justice at The Hague, because they're not the same courts. But we need to have an unambiguous complaint laid. So as a person who has a vote and a birth certificate, I'm simply saying that. Because I heard Dr. Hines saying, which he was good to say, that the people, we the people, are basically saying an agenda has not been put before the people to push back. So I'm saying, here is one of such agendas, that we need to have an unambiguous complaint placed before some international body to hold the PPP legally accountable. We must say that absent from the narrative is legal accountability before the International Criminal Court or the International Court of Justice. I ask any one of you leaders, starting with Nigel Hughes, because he wants to be president. So this is our public debate. Current candidate, what would be your intentions? Or Dr. Hines or Mr. Arbinot? Here's a debate question. What are your intentions for putting a concise complaint before the International Criminal Court or the International Court of Justice on this issue that I'm articulating here? Can you hear me, Mr. Amsterdam?
Thank you for your call.
I haven't finished yet, sir.
Well, I just say thank you for your call. When are you going to finish?
Quickly, for churches, thank you, sir. For churches, I want to ask the churches, and I'm not beating up on the church. I came from the church. What is the difference between human rights and religious rights? Churches always tend to put up the pushback. We don't want to be involved in politics. Churches need to understand that Jesus was a politician. And politics is everything and everything is politics. Jesus came in turning over the tables of the money exchanges. Churches cannot be afforded to standing on the side. Dr. Martin Luther King was front and center. He used the church and the pulpit to fight injustices for the civil rights movement. A lady online just commented about that. And the middle class, as Mr. Amsterdam pointed out, there's a group started by the founder of the Stabrook News many years ago. It's called the Murray House. The Murray House. You can Google it. I would like to know what the Murray's House position is on churches being violated and the position of persecution across the board. The Murray House has been doing some very good work, but we would like to have persons from the Murray House, their members, to come on stream as Red Thread or these other groups and participate collectively with us. Mr. Amsterdam, you are right to say that the middle class has been conspicuously quiet. And we need them to be upfront, Charlie, on these issues. Once again, thank you, Mr. Amsterdam, for affording me the time.
Thank you for your call.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. Dictatorship in full blown in Guyana. I only hope Guyanese are preparing themselves to go to the polls to get the PPP out from office. Guyanese, you people have to sit around the table, have your conversation with your family members, and enlighten them what is going on. You people have to go to the polls early and vote the PPP out from government. If not, what is going on now would be 10 times worse. The PPP must go. They're no good for Guyana. They are discriminating against Afro-Guyanese especially. They're not good. Guyanese, prepare yourself to go to the polls to get them out, and it must be out from government for a long, long time. That is my take for today.
Good morning, Kadaki. You guys in Guyana, sit down.
Call your life.
Yes, this is Flash Garden. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Let me say thank you, Coffee, for mentioning Martin Luther King, because that was my message today, to remind my black brother and sister. Let me say this, Martin Luther King was not an opposition leader. I know you mentioned his name last week, and Miss Amanda mentioned Martin Luther King, but it's the essence of it. Martin Luther King was not an opposition leader. He was not representing no party like Democrats or Republic, but he was a man of God. And when Martin Luther King, and I've talked many times on your program, that's why I love this program. That's why I always said this program number one, because we always deal with good, the bad, and the ugly. Because human being is two words bound together, good and bad, and we must face both as human beings and deal with it. Martin Luther King, when he heard what happened to that black sister, when a white man tell her to get up and go to the back and give the white people them a seat, she said, hell no. And when Martin Luther King heard that what he did to her, arrest her, lock up, he get up and he said, enough is enough. As a man of God, now no politician, no opposition leader, he don't wait for no other party to speak out, but he as a man of God. I want let all them Pastor Avis and Mr. Nan and Mr. Nigel, Pastor Nigel were always beat up and calling upon the opposition leader Abinathan, and Mr. David. That was a man of God who called upon people, do not take transportation, walk and go to work. And the nonsense stuff, it happened only for 1 week. I'm saying my heart goes out to Mel, grandmother, and mother, as I see the citizen Flash Garden. What happened to the family for stand up? Our church members to stand up that day. The pastor for our church, because elders, they don't make joke for put them offering every month and then tithes. I learned it for my grandmother. She don't make joke. After she gets a pen and check, that's the first thing to do. What are the people to rally in front the state and say, hey, lose these people then. They are innocent. Stop abusing them. Where was Pastor London when he heard what happened to Mel, mother and grandmother? Why he did not correct his own members then and go and protest there? That is their duty as a pastor. But you see, everybody just stay in the back. I want Abinathan to do everything. No. Abinathan is an opposition leader, yes. But you know what? Opposition leader just need people to rally around them so they could perform. Abinathan alone cannot do it alone. I listened to Nigel Hughes Saturday night. Let me read fine print. Nigel Hughes is not interested about protesting for no voter list. To my understanding, He is looking out to get more black people in AFC and more Amwin people. That is all he looking for numbers, for challenge Adinatu. That's okay. That is all right. But black people, what Flash Garden is saying this morning, do not end up again like what Charadas did to us. Remember Jim Jones' story. Remember Jim Jones' story. Jim Jones fooled those people and said, paradise in my country, Guyana. And he killed them. AFC may not kill you, but it will keep you in punishment. Don't blame nobody. Don't blame God. Because God tell me to say plain, Abinati will be the next president for what? For where? United Guyana. Not one Guyana, United Guyana. Nigel, you said a couple weeks ago, 1 more minute. He said the ancestors tell him to go and represent the people. What happened to Mel mother and grandmother? Them is not people too for represent. Did he do anything? Did he protest? But Pastor Landan called upon Abinatu to protest on the behalf of Mel mother and grandmother. But he called upon Niger youth. We have to stop disrespect our leader. Stop putting our leader down. Stop telling black people don't vote for Abinatu. One more thing before we go quick. Thank God for your time. For the time. Nigel Hughes. No, Nigel Hughes. Nigel London and Mr. David. They say that how Jagan say, no, Jagan pulled out people from parliament. Boylan said, watch with me one more night. Desmond Prasad said, slow fire. But they forget what Abinatu said. Because Abinatu said the most powerful words than any one of them. Abinatu said, are you still there? Hello?
Yes, I am here.
Hello?
Yes, I am here.
Beautiful. Abinatu said, I will not stand by. Thank you, Lord, for those words. I will not stand by and let Jack Joe take everything away from black people. I will not stand by and let Jack Joe control the whole country, the whole town, the whole city. They didn't mention those words. Why? Why did we mention those words? Those words are powerful words. And Abinatu not only said it, he demonstrated and he worked towards that. That's why he won the election, the last election. Nobody can tell me, oh, it's a small election. Sin is sin. It ain't got big sin and small sin. It ain't got big election and last election. All election, you could benefit from both. Small and big. Election is election. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for your call. Let me tell you all, I've indicated to Senior Counsel Nigel Hughes that I have an interest in hosting him on the program, and he has acknowledged that he is ready and willing to come when you all want him to come. At least you're going to get the opportunity to hear him out, and you'll get the opportunity also to respond to what he says. When would you like to have Mr. Hughes on the program? Talk to me. You know, one of the things I know is saying it and doing it is two different things, you know. And I'm not taking comfort from anybody who say they're going to do this or they're going to do that. Especially when I look at the actions, I want to see they do. I don't tell me nothing but who said they're going to do and who not going to do and who doing. That's what I want to see. No burn the case. Tomorrow is too soon. I have to give the man adequate time. Tomorrow it should have been tomorrow, quite frankly, because tomorrow is free. Jordan is Dr. Hines is Wednesday, Jordan is Thursday. Maybe you'll have to take a free talk Friday. Right? I don't know. I'll reach out to Mr. Hughes and see if we can. I want you to have adequate notice that he's coming on. So I know I'll do it tomorrow. But you have been informed that he's likely to be on sometime soon. Oh, I was playing voice notes. Let me continue playing them. Welcome, Rebecca.
Good morning, Kodaki and listeners. Once again, hoping to go to the poll, but PPP only understands force. They ain't got nothing to move them from there but force.
Thank you for that call. You know, elections are a legitimate way. As a matter of fact, elections are perhaps the only way acceptable for the removal of governments. If you try to remove a government by force, they call that a coup. They call it you're overthrowing a government and so on and so forth. And the international community doesn't look well on people overthrowing governments. So we have to go to elections. And since the international community doesn't look well on people overthrowing governments, and they would rather you go to elections to remove the government through a legitimate vote, then we have to insist and we have to take actions to ensure that the international community brings the necessary influence to ensure that governments give citizens the opportunity to legitimately remove them from power. Right? So we all have rights and responsibilities. The international community doesn't want to hear a coup there and a coup there. Otherwise, like I said the other, or somebody said the other day, they're going to end up with tyranny. And I'm saying, well, if is tyranny going to move people and change situation, then sometimes we have to embrace tyranny. It must be a very last resort. So while we would like to have elections, we would like to have credible elections. And so let us continue to insist that we must have a clean list, biometrics, and all of those other things, which will strengthen the likelihood of us having a free, fair, and credible election. Voice note.
Good morning, Kedaki. I am sending this voice note to say certain things. Now, you know the Jehovah Witnesses, they walk around distributing scripture readings and things, right? One time the Jehovah Witnesses came around by me, and with the atrocities that this government is emitting on people, on citizens of this country, I spoke to the Jehovah Witness sister about it. I asked her, why is it that the churches, they are not coming out to denounce this government and the things that they are doing to citizens? She go around, come around, beat around, say all kinds of things. Why the church don't be involved in politics and all these things, and God will work it out and all kind of things. Now, with mixed feelings, I gotta tell you this. I was on the ferry coming from Esquebo on Saturday evening, when I heard, because before I go today, I told her, I said, if you Christians don't stand up, this government is going to attack you next. So don't tell yourself that politics is so only us. So all of us, you included in the us. So Peter Long and Scott, I said, well, I really can't give anything to you for these books because I'm not in that. If you cannot support what we fighting against, then I really can't support it. Because the first thing, I personally don't really believe in Christianity. I believe in God. Right? I know there is a God. But I don't believe in a religion. I believe in God, in serving God, in calling upon God. He will answer my prayer. He said in the same book that they claim the Bible, he said, know ye not that ye are gods? We are gods. He said that. Anyway, coming back to the point. I heard on the boat some Christian ladies, girls, they were in the boat. I know probably when they play cricket or something. And I heard them talking about some nice nuisance that some brothers were arrested for. So I was on my phone, I turned the phone off and I listening, right? They said the brothers were arrested and placed before the court for noise nuisance in the church. Kidaki with mixed feelings. I want to say something, I want to tell the sister something, but I ain't saying nothing because I remember my words to the Jehovah's Witness sister. These things is going to come back to bite them. You see, they sit down, enough of them go with this government, accept gifts from the government, say nothing against the government because the government gave them a chance to bring in these things duty free or whatever the government is giving them. And the same duty free instruments that they're bringing now, the government, you telling them they can't use it because you're disturbing people and all kind of thing. Well, I didn't know the problem till I heard them saying it. And then last night now I was on YouTube and I saw Norman Brown and Mark Benchcap was talking, and I'm going to show you the issue of what happened to the two brothers. Right? I wasn't shocked because I know how this government still wicked, stink, and not dirty like Sheridan couldn't say. You see, they go down any road to do anything. So I am happy, real happy, that this has happened to the Christian church. Let me see now with all of them, the Seventh-day Adventists and all them who embrace President Ali, who is a good man and this and now. Let me see if the thing will come up now and stop it now. They gotta stop it now. If it doesn't, I'm sorry for them. Now, let them go around and listen to the Muslim, to the mosque. You know how much noise you just hear? I never hear the police rushing for them out for the mosque and tell them they can't say Allahu Akbar or that you passing on the street and you hearing the church in a village and you hearing it on the main road, the mosque in the village. Nothing, they never do that, but they do it to the Christians. You see, I am sorry for them. I pray that they come together and denounce this government. And next thing could happen. My daughter was looking for a job. She went into a ministry and a woman introduced her to a doctor guy, right? That's supposed to get his job for her. She already got the job because she ran the shore station and all these things, right? I can't understand with my black brothers, my African brothers, why should you want to take advantage of a young lady because she needs a job? You understand? My daughter said the amount of things he asked her to do, she already got the job, you know. He fired her the same day she got the job, the same day she was fired because she did not agree to do the things he wanted her to do. He took her in his car, said he carried her somewhere to sign something, right? And asked her to do a lot of things. His wife is foreign and he just want to have fun and all kindness. I want to say the word, but I can't say it, right? When my daughter came home and told us this thing, she had 4 brothers. Them boys wanted to know who's his doctor. Them boys wanted to know his name. Them boys wanted to know where he's living. You see? But me now, I know how these things could turn out. I am a former military, I was a Grand Defense Force soldier. Right? I know how these things could turn out. So I talk to my son and I tell, don't worry with him. You see, my daughter telling me, don't say anything. Right? She just ain't taking the job. I said, well, you know why I have to talk to that? You know, like that, but last week or something. You know why I talk about it now? Because other young ladies, because that's what he told her. You were willing to do it. You know how much other people will take this job? They were willing to do this a 1 or 2 times just for this 150,000. He told my daughter that. A black man like her just wants to use her, but you don't know her family. You see, they just look at these girls and think that they're vulnerable. They may be but want to the brothers and the father and all the other people who is there to represent them. You as a black man supposed to be there to represent instead of you want to use people's children. You understand? Anyway, Kidaki, that's all I got to say.
Why you ask him face? Because I want to address this caller. I want to address the caller specifically on the allegation of a black doctor asking his daughter to do all manner of things, and then he's telling his sons to leave him alone. When that black doctor decided that he was going to fire their sister, because she wasn't going to bring herself down to the level that he wanted her to go to keep her job, that black doctor attacked our entire family. He attacked her brothers, disrespected them, he disrespected their parents. He has discriminated their family, he's taking bread out of their mouth. And you don't want your sons to know who that black doctor is? I'm not saying that they should go and break his leg or cut off his head or do him any harm, but they have a right to that information. They have a right to that information, just like the society has a right to that information. And your daughter ought to, your daughter, your family have a right to put that information out there. She might not want the job anymore, but she needs to file a formal complaint. And once a formal complaint is filed, then it should be made public who that doctor is, because that doctor is a predator. And in your own voice, you said what he said. Somebody else going to take the work. Somebody else going to do all I want them to do for the same $150,000 work. So those of us who see wrong and don't say anything about it, we are contributing to the wrongs being perpetrated against our people. Caller, I don't know who you are exactly. Let your sons know who that man is. Let your entire family, extended and immediate, know who that man is. Let Guyana know who that man is. And in this day and age of technology, we have to start to be smart about the use of our technology. We can wear body cameras. From the time you recognize somebody has inappropriate intentions, it's time to set them up, as we say. It's time to wear a hidden camera. It's time to do a recording. And so when people are confronted, they must not have much else to say to save themselves. What's the new word I got now? Terrence? I think Terrence. I saw a video where a woman confronted her husband for being promiscuous, infidelity. And when she started talking and he was about to deny, she said, I got all the evidence. I got a photograph of the hotel, you and the girl coming out to the hotel. I got this, I got that, I got the other, I got the voice notes, I got this, I got that, I got that. That is the situation we have to put these public officials in. We're talking about the middle class staying silent and allowing misbehavior in government and high places and so on. This brother here is staying silent. You only talking part of the story. Talking part of the story don't solve the problem. Because we still don't know who the predator is. Get on this case, brothers. We want to know the predator. It's not too late. There's no statutory limitation, I think, on rape. I don't think there is. And you said this thing happened last week. This is already there still. The young lady must file a formal complaint. Who employed her? It must not be in her record that she just walked off of the job, because that too will affect our chances of being employed in the future. Bring a reference from your last place of employment. Can you imagine that? Bring a reference from your last place of employment. She has to go right back there for a reference. Is he going to ask her to do the same low down dirty things? That he asked her to do to keep the job? For her to get a favorable recommendation? Is that what we say? Is that what we want to expose our girl children to?
Good morning, Kidaki. I am sending this voice note.
I think that's the one I just played. Huh? Is that how we're dealing with these issues? I keep telling y'all, the bully will continue to take advantage on us or on people so long as there is no big brother to step forward. Let our big brothers step forward and represent their sisters. Hey, I got the most beautiful daughter in the whole world, most precious daughter in the whole world, and I just pray to God that I don't have to confront anything of this nature. Because in my head, it's going to be fire and brimstone. I don't mind being collateral damage. But when the story is told, it must be told that, hey, you see the man there? He stood up for his child. Stood up for his family member. He didn't take it light. Got a voice note.
Rikidaki, good morning. With all due respect to our churches them in this country. You know, our churches was too silent on everything that's going on in this country. Most of our churches, them Christian churches them in this country. That what happened there in Region 1 is one of the most disgraceful, one of the most embarrassing thing that this installed government and this stupid backward police force that taking advice from this installed backward racial unqualified government, installed government. Churches, Christian churches, rise and shine. They're coming after you now. These people don't believe in God. You know, these people believe in money. The more money they get, the more better for them. Money is these people God. These people worshiping money more than human being. That's why these people are so evil. The love of plenty money is the roots of all evil. Understand me? The people them are evil people. As I say and I say again, I have a old partner. They done gone much years now. He say at long evil people in power. A lot of evil thing happen. Understand me? And call on all the stupid police them. Kind of police them. The PPP government are using y'all as the installed vice president say. He ain't going down here alone. The man carrying every institution. That's what the institution in this country so corrupt. Every institution, every organization so corrupt in this country because the installed vice president said that he ain't going down here alone. So, stupid police, them in their brown uniform and them sergeant, they better to pull your act together. Pull your act together. You remember what happened in 23 years when they used to find police officers left, right, and center this country? Come on, buddy. Don't let me allow it to happen again, buddy. There's the people who have to put your back down the ladder again. And I calling on the churches them now, rise and shine. And let God see the glory that you will portray to our people in this nation, especially our African people. They all have a blessed day, Guyanese. Right thinking Guyanese. Rikidaki, good morning. With all due respect to our churches them in this country. You know, our churches was too silent on everything that
I just played the one.
Kidaki, I'm still listening to the program. This is the father that called about his daughter. My daughter just told me the doctor's name is, not just, she told me before. Right, the doctor's name is Dr. Jason. but his title she can't remember. But he's an administrator. You know, he's an administrator or something. I don't know exactly what. But he's an administrator at GPHC. You see, I know I had to give his name because I was waiting for a future program. But seeing that you insist, I will give his name because he must know, like I said, I don't want no other young lady to go through this, right? And Dr. Jason has to know that people have relatives that he's messing around. So he has to stop this foolishness. He and others like him. He's like Taramlala, them is the same thing.
That's what Camps TV does. I got no shame. Y'all find out who is Dr. Jason. He's supposed to be an admin at GPHC. There may be many Dr. Jason, but y'all find out who is Dr. Jason. And those of you who get the information, I don't know what you're going to do with it, but we have a right to be each other's keeper. And I'm hoping that this young lady is going to get the full name of that doctor, administrator or not, and file a formal complaint of sexual harassment against him. You know, there are laws, you know. And I keep telling people things. I always say, don't tell me that they ain't going to do anything about it. Put it on the record. I will tell you why I say put it on the record. You see me? I don't know. Sometimes I develop a spirit of unforgiveness. Is such a word here? Unforgiving. Just the other day, I was thinking back about Quindon Bacchus's murder. Y'all remember Quindon Bacchus's murder? And since there is no statute of limitation on murder, I'm saying in my mind, there's that particular Indo-Guyanese police who has never been charged for the murder of Quindon Bacchus, despite all what the evidence suggests. And it's one of the things I would like to sit in front of the next president of Guyana, assuming that I will be part of his government, and say, hey, you have a responsibility to bring the killer of Quindon Bacchus to justice, among many others. Among many others. So y'all file them reports. You might not get action now, but God knows, the Creator knows, the ancestors know what the future holds. Am I going to be a minister of government or a member of a government that can just sit down and forget all of these atrocities against the Guyanese people? No. No. I guarantee you, I will challenge the system to make it right. Why up until now, how many years after people can't know who the accused is or was in the Monica Reese murder, y'all tell me that there's no file in the Guyana police force that suggests that this was the person or that was the person? You mean to tell me all them unsolved crimes against, some people say 1,400 black men in this country, there's no file that suggests who the murderers were? File them reports. File them reports. People must be held accountable for their wickedness. Who cares to work under the PPP? I don't. I care to work in my country, but not to work under the PPP. I don't know what field this young lady is qualified in. Whether it is administration or whether it is medical science, whatever it is. But she's no doubt certified. She went and she got a job. We have to teach our children, and we have to teach our children, and we have to teach our family members, and we have to teach our people that your certification must not always be to work with somebody. My daughter is doing her pre-med right now. And every business opportunity I see that I think can benefit her, I discuss with her. Just the other day, I saw dental, whatever training being advertised. I asked her, do you want to go and learn this? So not because you're studying, you want to become a pediatrician, you want to become this, you want to become that. You can't be a dentist, you know. It's less number of years to certify to be a dentist, even while you're going through the other number of years to become what your ultimate goal is. And if you become a dentist, even while you're studying, you can be earning. So nobody ain't gonna make you no mama guy. We have to teach our children that. So I'm sure our certification or working with the GPHC or working with the government of Ghana can't be the only route to employment. But I'm sure our actions can empower her and empower others and protect them. Where's this Janet Elias talking about Kidaki sent her to the block party? Oh, I know as well. Sorry for asking. Right? We got to empower our people. We have to. I was saying the other day, somebody was talking something. I was saying, y'all know me. I ain't got self-issues. I ain't got self-esteem problems. We have to build our children's self-esteem so high so that our sidamin low for water run over. It is 19 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. I'm about to leave this program. I hope I've played all of the voice notes. I hope that I've been able to help to build this nation in some way or other through education, through information. I hope that I've empowered people this morning. I'll see you tomorrow for another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I want you to do one thing for me. Friday we had issues with the that thing, Cash App. I was told that efforts were made to fix it. I don't know if it has been fixed. Somebody test it out for me. Send $1 to it. $1. I asked him for nothing. I want to test it out. $1. Y'all have a good day. Love you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Do what y'all gotta do as a people. When we speak with one voice, you get the changes we want.